back to our video series on describing distributions of data. In this video, we're going to tie all of the things that we've talked about in data description together. And one of the things we're going to look at is, can we compare multiple distributions? And the answer is yes. What I'm going to do, I've got data I'm going to call pressure A. So let's assume this is some measurement of pressure that we have. And I'm going to run our data. Just to make sure it's run, I'm going to highlight pressure A, and we can see that it's run. And we've done a stem and leaf plot on this before. And what we saw was that this looks to be skewed to the right, and it's got missing data in the 72 to 73 and 76 to 77 range. So we've discussed our shape, and we've discussed unusual features. We'll run our histogram as well. Well, since it looks to be skewed to the right, we'll calculate our mean, and we'll calculate our standard deviation. And then let's compare that to our median. Now, it doesn't seem like it's too far off. 64.57 for a median, 64.84 for a mean. Let's take a look at our IQR, 7.49 for our IQR versus 5.23 for our standard deviation. But let's take a look at the box plot and see what the box plot says. And it's clear that we do have an outlier here around 80. So we know that this is skewed to the right based on the outlier. That means that we need to describe our center and spread with the median of 64.57 and the IQR with 7.49. Well, now let's take a look at what I'm going to call pressure B. Suppose this is some other measurement of pressure. I'll run pressure B, and here are my pressure B values. Now, we'll do our stem and leaf plot on pressure B, and pressure B looks to be a bit more symmetric. It does have missing values at 66, 67, 68, and 69. This means that these values around 70 could be an outlier. We'll run our histogram, and notice we've got our missing data right here. Well, let's check our mean, standard deviation, median, and IQR here. Our mean, 60.50. Our standard deviation, 3.90. Our median, 60.37. Again, it looks to be only slightly off from the mean. However, the outlier could be causing this problem. Our IQR, 4.145. Well, now let's take a look at our box plot, and let me make this horizontal as well. Now, we need to take a look at something. It looks as though there are two outliers at least here in our pressure B. This data looks definitely to be skewed to the right. But something else we need to look at. Pressure B is on a different scale from pressure A. I'm going to run box plot for pressure A again, and I want you to watch what happens on this x-axis. I go from 55 to 80 in pressure A. However, for pressure B, I go from below 55 only up to about 72. So now I'm on different scales. And this poses a problem because it's difficult to be able to tell if there are any differences between these two distributions since they are on different scales. So what we should do is put these on the same scale. Okay, since these are on different scales, we need to put them on a similar scale. And to do that, I'm going to do a box plot, and I'm going to have pressure A and pressure B. So I've got X and Y here. Now, I've named these A and B. My title is simultaneously comparing multiple distributions. I put these on a horizontal scale. My Y label is pressure type, so type A or B. My X label is pressure values. Now let's run this and see what we get. Here are my pressure types, A and B. Here are the pressure values. Notice, pressure B has a much lower value than pressure A. Also notice that pressure B's third quartile is not even as high as the median for pressure A. And in fact, well, even the two outliers on pressure B have not reached the upper adjacent value of pressure A. And notice pressure A has an outlier approximately around 80. So what would this tell us? Well, what this says is that it looks as though pressure A has a higher central value than pressure B. Now, this is important because if we're interested in how our pressure is affecting something, say the amount of pressure a pipe can take, well, would it be useful to have a higher pressure or a lower pressure? Okay, so what have we been able to do? Well, we've been able to describe our centers, we've been able to describe our spreads, we've been able to describe our shapes, and we've been able to describe our unusual features. And we've been able to compare these two distributions. So that does it for our video series on describing distributions. In our next video series, we'll discuss describing relationships between two variables. See you then.